How's everybody doing? Good, okay, kind of tired. It's sunny. Everybody wants to be outside. I got it. Hey, my name's Jeff. That's not important. Most important thing about me is that I love Jesus. I also, so you can kind of help make the connections, Jennifer Gardner is my really amazing wife, and Grace Gardner is my favorite daughter, and Drew Gardner is my favorite son. Okay, so that's just a little bit about who I am. But tonight we're going to try to talk about something. All of us want to be part of something bigger. Okay. Hey, Michael, is that picture still? It didn't get deleted or something? I love Husky football. Okay. I'm nuts about it. I can't wait for Friday nights. I believe that someday, in the not too distant future, the Huskies are going to be hoisting a blue map. And if you can imagine this right here, when we win this, don't look too hard because you will throw up. All right. I get excited about Husky football. I love Friday nights. I love Omari. Exactly. Omari posted that on his story, and people are like, who's the white kid jumping behind you? We all want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. When Ryan Shoup catches a touchdown next year, I might lose it. They might have to arrest me. I'm going to go so berserk because it's going to be awesome. All right. Okay, you can delete that because kids are they're throwing up. All right, okay, good. We all want to be part of something bigger. I love Husky football because it's something bigger. There's a bunch of people there's some people making major bank because they understand that you and I long to connect to something bigger. How many of you like Marvel movies? Anybody like a Marvel movie? Okay, who's your favorite superhero? Just shout it out real quick. Okay, great. Bucky Barnes, great choice. All right, cool. My favorite superhero, my favorite Marvel character is Doctor Strange. You're like, who the heck is that? That's the weird dude, okay? Doctor Strange, we can learn something from Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, if we watch how he does his stuff, it's all about quieting the inner side of you so that you can connect to something bigger. Christianity is just like that. If you can calm, if you can center, if you can focus, if you can quiet the inside of you, you can connect to something bigger. Dr. Strange starts getting quiet and starts spinning his little thing, and the next thing you know, he's doing something super. If you and I can connect to God, if we can quiet who we are on the inside, connect to Him, God's going to do some awesome stuff inside of your life. He's going to use you to change the world. We all want to be part of something bigger. Star Wars, Marvel Comics, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Okay, all those things. And you're like, who the heck is that? There's probably some influencer, whatever the heck that is. I don't even know what that phrase means because I'm so old. But there's some influencers that you follow, and you're feeding their kids because you just keep following their stuff. We all want to be connected. We love LeBron James. We love Kyrie. We love Durant. We love whoever because we want to connect to something bigger. Tonight, I want to help all of us connect to something bigger. Our faith is a heart thing, our faith is a head thing, and our faith is a hand thing. Okay, let me just break those down. Our faith is a heart thing. A while ago, we were singing Good, Good Father. Dude, when Maddie sings, there's just something about when Maddie sings, and that Maddie's voice plus really strong lyrics makes Jeff cry. I'm emotional when it comes to Jesus. Jesus is the stuff. And when I start singing, when I listen to Maddie sing, or I listen to Andrew lead us in worship, or Travis mess with the lights just right, it puts me, it helps me get connected emotionally to this something bigger. Your faith should, you should move. Our faith is an emotional thing. If that girl says yes when you ask her out, something's going to go on inside of you. It's just good. If that dude with all the abs and none of the cute guys ever had red hair, sorry if you got red hair, I get it.
Thank you very much.
Dadgummit, sorry. If that cute dude asked you out, I didn't even see it. I looked right over you. Dang it. Sorry, my bad. All right. If that cute dude asks you out, it's going to cause something to happen on the inside of you. God, our faith is emotional. You should have some emotions when it comes to God. Don't need no boring old church people. God created us emotional beings. Use your emotions to deepen your faith. The next part, our faith is a brain thing. Too many times when it comes to this thing called Christianity, we turn our brain off. I was sitting in a message one time, and this dude said, turn to, and he starts telling us where to turn in the Bible, and we just all started turning there. And it was Acts chapter 29. There is no Acts chapter 29. We turn our stinking brain off when it comes to church. That's stupid. Okay. Our faith should be a brain thing. It should be a head thing. You should think deep thoughts about a really awesome God who sent his one and only son Jesus to die on the cross because you're jacked up. You should think about that. Not just in this room, not just in the big house, not just in your small group. Everywhere you go, your brain should think about God. You should think deep thoughts about God. Our faith has got to be a brain thing. Also, our faith has got to be a hands thing. We've got to use our hands. If we understand if we've been emotionally moved by how awesome Jesus is, we think how great he is, we just can't sit here. God has put us here for such a time as this so that we'll do something. That might mean pick up somebody. That might give somebody a high five. That may mean serve them. We've got to do something. Our faith is just not active in sitting in some boring pew. Okay? Y'all tracking? Our faith is a heart thing, it's a head thing, and it's a hands thing. Okay? So, we all want to connect to something bigger. Tonight, I want to engage your brain just a little bit. Actually, I want to engage your brain a lot. There's this story in Acts chapter 14, okay? Acts is becoming my favorite book in the Bible just because of what God's up to. This Holy Spirit's moving. People are coming to Jesus. Churches, it's just like things are exploding. I think some really awesome stuff is happening right in front of our faces. It reminds me a lot like the book of Acts. People praying, things happening, okay? So let's just look at this story. Acts chapter 14, starting in verse 8. Now at Lystra there was a man sitting who could not use his feet. He was crippled from birth and never walked. He listened to Paul speaking, and Paul looked intently at him and said that he had faith to be made well. And in a loud voice, Paul said, stand up on your feet. And the dude who had never walked, the dude who was crippled, sprang up and began to walk. Okay? That image that we saw right when I got up here started talking. Can you imagine what that cat did? Dude said, get up. He said, whoa, let's go, let's walk. I'm out of here. Let's skip, let's run, let's jump. If Jesus does something, you're going to act. You can't contain it. Jesus ever done anything for you? Yeah, okay. One day he's going to move y'all's emotions. All right, good deal. And the crowd saw that all that Paul had done. The crowd saw this thing going down. They saw what Paul had done. They lifted up their voices and started speaking in their language. The gods have come down to us in the likeness of men. Barnabas they called Zeus, and Paul they called Hermes because he was the chief speaker. And the priest of Zeus, whose temple was at the entrance of the city, brought oxen and garlands to the gates and wanted to offer sacrifices with the crowds. So the crowd sees this thing happen. And they want to start worshiping Paul and Barnabas. And Paul and Barnabas like, whoa, dudes, we're just like you. We want you to meet something bigger. We want you to see something bigger. We want you to see that God is awesome. He's bigger than all this stuff on earth. But when the apostles heard of this, they tore their clothes around the crowds. Don't do this. We're just dudes like you. In past generations, God had allowed all the nations to walk in their own ways. Yet he did not leave himself without witness, for he did good by giving you rains from heaven and fruitful seasons, satisfying your hearts with food and gladness. Even with these words, they scarcely restrained the people from offering sacrifices to him. So these apostles, these guys who were following Jesus, had the opportunity to help people understand who God was. I believe that you're here in 2021. I believe that God has gifted you, God has wired you, God has made you who you are. Quiet, loud, short, skinny, whatever you are. Thinker, talker, listener, laugher, giggler, whatever you are. God has put you here so that you can help people understand how God is. These guys right here in the Bible are using this thing called apologetics. Apologetics is just a big word for this right here. Apologetics is just building a case for God or helping other people understand God. Okay? You know how to build a case. Any of you ever been in trouble? Okay. Anybody been in trouble today? Don't raise your hand. Right now, if you're one of those kids that are in trouble right now, like you know when you get home, something's going to happen. So right now, you're not listening to me, and I get it. You're building a case in your brain so that when mom or dad says, hey, we need to talk, you have already got your defense built up. Y'all know what y'all tracking? You know how to build a case. Can you build a case for God? Do you understand who God is? Do you have a mental understanding of all that God has done for you? If we use this thing called apologetics, if we can build this case for God, it's going to change the way we do things. If you build a case for God, you're going to own your faith. Okay? Your faith, if you can think deep thoughts about God, if you can start to try to wrap your brain around this person of God, it's going to help you own your faith. My faith is not my mama's faith. My faith is not my grandmother's faith. My faith is not Buddy Champion's faith. I love Buddy Champion. My faith is my faith. I love Spencer Jones, one of my best friends. His faith is his faith. My faith is my faith. If you can build a case for God in your brain, it's going to make you own the faith. It's going to help you be personal. It's going to help you be passionate about this person called Jesus. So my question to you is, do you own your faith? Or is it just emotionally a heart thing? Heart's good, emotions are good. But is your brain engaged in the person and work of Jesus Christ? Have you made it make sense in your brain? A couple Sundays ago, we celebrated one of the greatest days ever. Jesus was stinking alive. The reason I believe that, the mental reason that I put my trust in this person called Jesus is because those original disciples, all they had to do to live was say, nope, Jesus is dead. Those jokers believed that message so much, they owned it, that they died knowing that Jesus was alive. My faith is not just some warm, fuzzy feeling on the inside. It's not just something I do with my hands. My faith is a brain thing. Is your faith got some brain behind it? So as you start to build this case, you're going to own your faith. It's going to be yours. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can argue you out of it. Nobody can scare you out of it. If you think deep thoughts about God, you can own it. Next thing is you're going to grow deep. I believe that the world that we're living in right now is so shallow. It's all about a like or a filter or an influencer who's an idiot. Our world needs deep people. Deep people shape culture. Influencers are going to pass. Depth matters. If you can build a case for Jesus in your brain, it's going to make you deep. People are going to like to talk to you. They're going to look to you for wisdom. They're going to look to you for insight. If you can build a case for Jesus, it's going to make you smart. It's going to make you wise. It's going to give you a depth. If you build a case for God, it's going to give you confidence to be a witness. God has put you here for a reason. There are people that you'll be able to talk to about Jesus that I'll never get to talk to. There are people that Spencer will never get to talk to. Spencer can't go to your biology class. Well, some of y'all can't even go to your biology class. You just logged in and do it. One day it was going to go back to normal. Maybe. But there are people in your circle There's people at your job. There's people on your team. There's people in your friend group that won't listen to me because I'm a goofy, weird, redheaded preacher dude. But they'll listen to you because they know that you like them. So as you start to build your brain and start thinking deep thoughts about God, it's going to give you confidence to witness and tell other people about how awesome Jesus is. There was not too long ago, I wasn't good at sharing my faith. I'd get scared. I'd get nervous. But the more I've practiced, the more I've thought about it, the more I've built a case for Jesus. Man, I can turn the conversation to Jesus just like that. And I can present the gospel just like that. Just because I have put some time in thinking about how awesome Jesus is. Now, it doesn't always go right. I screw it up a lot. Masses aren't coming to Jesus every week when I present the gospel. But I can at least talk about him. Can you talk about Jesus because you've developed a deep faith? You've owned your faith. You've built a case for Jesus. Y'all tracking me? Everybody okay? All right, good. Next thing. A long time, over centuries and decades and over just the history of man, people have been trying to prove the existence of God. Okay? Our problem is sometimes we're too passive. Our culture has told us that the only people who can't have an opinion or speak up are Christians. Everybody else's opinion is right according to our culture. That's a bunch of crap. Might have to pay for that later, okay? Smart people over centuries have used this thing called morality to prove that God exists. Does anybody have an iPhone 12? Can I see it for just 1 second? Yep. Awesome. Thanks, dude. All right, I just got me a new phone. Just got me a brand new iPhone 12. Jennifer won't buy me one, so I can steal it. Spencer, how you doing? Would it be okay if I punched Spencer in the face? Yes. Heck yeah. Pagans over here, okay? If I just walked up and punched somebody in the face, somebody's probably going to say, that ain't right. I don't know whose phone I have, but I just stole it. Is that right? No. All right, let's just get real for just a second. Let's say my amazing hot wife is in the back there, okay? Okay? Let's just say that I found this other woman. She says it's so. The other woman says it's okay. I say it's okay. Is that okay? It's not too negative, it's too positive. She says it's okay. I say it's okay. It's too positive. What makes it wrong? Is it wrong? Why? So? Y'all get what I'm saying? It is wrong. By the way, it is very wrong. By the way, if I did that, my wife would kill me. And she'd be right. Okay? All right. It's not, some things are just wrong. Like, we might not always agree on what's wrong, but in every culture across the history of the world, there has been something called morality. There's been a sense of what is right and what is wrong. I just took that dude's phone. It wasn't right. If I punched Spencer in the face, it ain't right. If I slept with another woman, it ain't right. Morality proves that there's something bigger out there. Morality, just the definition, is the principles that determine what is right and wrong. Cultures throughout the history of the world have always had some sense of morality. Think about that for just a second. If cultures all throughout the history of the world have said that there's some sense of right and wrong, where does that come from? How does that happen? Really smart people have used morality to prove that there's something bigger out there. I'm really a simple dude. I'm not real smart, but to me, to try to help us understand this tonight, there's just it's a pretty long sentence, but we're going to flash it up on the screen, okay? If there's no God, if there is no God, then there is no right and wrong. I hope that you've seen as we've talked tonight that there is a sense of right, like even in your brain, there is a sense of right or wrong. We might not agree on what that is that's right or wrong, but we would agree that there is a right or a wrong. So if there is no God, then there can't be a right or wrong. But we've just talked about how there is a right or wrong, so there has to be something bigger. Now, with middle schoolers, I had to use that blank. I had to say that there is a God. I want to let you think just a little bit. If it was just me and you talking, I'm not going to force Jesus on you. I want you to think about him. So if it was just me and you talking and we got to all three of these points, if there's no God, then there is no right and wrong. But we just proved that there is a right and wrong. So there's got to be something bigger out there. I do believe that something bigger is God. You might come up with something else. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to unpack some different truths that are going to help us point to it's the God of the Bible. Okay? Your brains can handle it. Middle schooler might not be able to handle that. Hear me say that I believe that something bigger is God. Okay? If there is no God, there is no right or wrong. But there is something that's right or wrong, so there's got to be something bigger out there. That something bigger for me is God. The God who sent his one and only son, Jesus, to die on the cross because I'm a sinner. Y'all tracking? Okay. So, a couple questions. Let's imagine that me and you are sitting at Munoz. The queso has just showed up. The chips and salsa are there. I like to eat chips and salsa. Remember the picture with my belly showing? I like to eat. I like to talk. So imagine that you and I are sitting there talking. It's just me and you. It's not a date, nothing weird. Just us. We're just talking about Jesus and how awesome he is. And you say, Jeff, maybe I say, hey, do you believe in Jesus? And you've got to answer that question in one of two ways. Yes or no. If you say yes tonight, like you believe in Jesus, that's awesome. Why? It's because your mama told you to? It's because your grandmother told you to? Is it because Brother Buddy's awesome? Is it because Spencer's got no hair and he's cool? What is it? Why do you believe in God? As we've talked tonight, I hope I've given you at least one idea that morality shows us that there is something bigger out there, and that something bigger is God. But if it was just me and you talking, how could you talk about you believe that there's a God? Is it just an emotional thing? Or is there some head part to it? Is there a brain part to it? Next week, you're going to hear some cool science stuff. Week after that, you're going to learn some really cool archaeological stuff, maybe. I don't remember which order we're going in. But just tonight, why do you believe in God? What's your brain say? How does your brain influence your faith? If you were to ask me, hey, Jeff, why do you believe in God? One of the arguments I would say is that there is a sense of right and wrong in people. I would also tell you that Jesus Christ has done something really awesome in my life. He has changed who I am. He has taken a messed up sinner and saved him and redeemed him and rescued him. And he's the best thing that ever happened to me. My head owns it. My heart's so grateful. Because of that, I'm going to tell as many people as I can about Jesus. I'm going to go and I'm going to do. But for you, how is your head involved in your faith? Now then, there are some of you that might say, hey, Jeff, this is a bunch of crap. I'm just here because that person's cute and they invited me. Got it. Totally understand. You and I are sitting there having cheese dip. My flaming cheese fajitas just showed up. Those things are so good. You've ordered your burrito. Quesadilla, I like those, okay. Okay? And you don't believe all that. Could you tell me why? Could you tell me, hey, Jeff, I think that's a bunch of crap because of this? If you're real honest with me, your brain can't tell me. Your heart, though, can. Maybe the church has burned your mom. Maybe the church has hurt you. And so you've said, I don't have nothing to do with this guy. What I've learned is I talk to people about Jesus, and I get them to that spot where they want to maybe at least engage in the next part of the conversation. It's not a head thing. Something in the past has hurt them. Okay? If the church has hurt you, I'm sorry. We love you, and we're all messed up, so please forgive us back. All right? If you don't believe in God, what's your reason? Do you really have one? Or have you just Googled something? This thing called Christianity, following Jesus, is a heart thing, it's a head thing, and it's a hands thing. Is all of you involved in your relationship with Jesus? Here's what we're going to do. Don't you just close your head and bow your eyes close your eyes and bow your head. Whatever. Y'all know how it works. I just want you to think. It's just me and you for just a second. In just a second, the guys are going to come up here and sing us some songs. But really, deep down, do you believe in God? Right there where you're at. If it's yes, that's awesome. What are you doing about it? Are you pursuing God with everything that you got? Maybe you're like, Jeff, I really don't believe all that. Or maybe you started thinking, maybe there is something to this Jesus thing. If tonight's the night you want to ask Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior. Spencer and Mary Catherine are going to be in the back in just a second. I want you to go talk to them. They want to help you fall in love with this person called Jesus. I do believe something's happening in our student ministry and in our city and in our church. And it all has to do with prayer. So just for the next few minutes, we're just going to create some space. Some space to connect with the God who sent his one and only Son, Jesus, to die on the cross. And there's nothing special about this room. It's really about an attitude of your heart. I do think that postures and positions matter. So as we're going to enter in this moment of just quiet for just a few minutes, I want you to think about your posture. The front of the stage, we're just going to make it an altar. So if you want to just talk to God right here at the stage, that's cool. If you want to get on your knees right there at your seat, that's totally cool. We're not going to be in any hurry. We're just going to try to sit and let God speak to us. Andrew's going to keep padding under. But right there where you're at, just talk to God. Maybe it's get on your knees. Maybe it's hold your hands up. Maybe it's just hold your hands out and ask him to give you. Maybe it's to put your palms down and just let go of something. But in just these next few minutes, you have freedom to get on your knees or get on your face or to stand up and just connect to this really awesome God who loves you and sent his one and only Son, Jesus, to die in your place. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to pray that God will speak to you, and that his voice will be as loud to you as it's ever been.